It's 10 o'clock, so it's to 70 and beyond. And I hope that your week was fabulous. Mine was a bit of a challenge. I was writing about insurance and disasters. And, I'm the kind of person that the cup is always half full. And I had a hard time finding the silver lining in the aha crystalline moment gift in writing about insurance and the cost that it entails for when there's disasters happen. So I wanted to talk today about resilience because resilience plays a huge role in the emergency management world. They talk about resilience in everything. And what is resilience? Resilience is being able to bounce back and bounce back being better than you were before. So after all these weeks of self-quarantine, you've probably had a few minutes to think about what I talked last week about new norm is going to look like. Well, how do you do that? How do you create resilience mindset? Well, on the screen, I have a slide from my 4 courses. So the disaster course that I'm writing is called Crisis Knowledge Management Certification. And the second course is on mindset, leadership, and communication. And really, my whole thinking about leadership and mindset came to be because of this particular study. This was a study that was done in 2011. They took 57 leaders from different industries and pulled them together and put them through a 12-week mindset training program about how to be present. And they had all these exercises and things that they did. There were scientists, there were neuroscientists, there were people from Harvard Business, people from Harvard, people from Yale, all these think tanks that were doing the testing. And they did all this neurological testing as well as psychological testing on these leaders prior to actually going through the study and going through the training. And then afterwards, they broke the group into 2 teams, one that went through the mindfulness training and the other one that did not. And so then afterwards, they retested everyone. They did MRIs on the brains. They did all this testing, the neurological testing. And what they found is just by being focused, compassionate, have creativity and clarity, it actually improved in 3 main areas of your brain. Your resilience and your collaboration were improved by over 90%. Over 90%. That's a huge number. Agility for thinking, complex thinking was over 85%. It improved in those mains. And a couple years later, there was another study done where it was out of, I think it was out of British Columbia. And they took all the mindfulness studies that had been done the previous 5 or 6 years, and they combined them all, and they looked at it. And they found that actually, when you are practicing mindfulness, your brain actually grows in gray matter. Your brain actually gets larger. So it's very important for us to understand what a resilient mindset is, because all the experts that I've read and researched on for this disaster course talk about the importance for resilience, importance for the resilience for your community, the importance of resilience for your business, and importance of resilience for your family. And one of the codes for emergency management is when you build back better. So what does that mean? Let's talk about your community first. Building back better. Okay, what can we do in our communities? How can our hospitals be better after this pandemic? What can we do to be better supplied and better prepared? Preparation when it comes to disaster is the key to everything. And most people think, well, if I have a little emergency kit, which only 16% of you out there do, I'm all set. No, you're not even close. It's much more than that. So we have to create a resilient mindset. And what is that going to do for our businesses? What is that going to do for our families and for us individually and personally? If we are resilient, like this week, I had to plow through that course on section on insurance because I wasn't finding anything I wanted to really tell people about. It was all bad news. And I was really trying to find the crystalline moment gift. And just I found a couple little tiny nuggets, but they were nothing in comparison to what really the bad news is. And the bottom line is I have to be persistent, and then I have to be resilient, because I still have the fourth course is on insurance, mortgages, and other services that are affected by disasters and services you can help you recover. So I have to be resilient this week. I have to bounce back, and I have to be better at what I was before. And what is that going to do? It's going to change my mindset by being mindful. So how do we do that? How do we become mindful? The first thing, and you've heard this over and over and over if you've watched anything about what to do while you're trying to get through this, is breathe. Breathe. There's several different kinds of breathing, but the main one you want to do is deep breaths. Most of us breathe very shallowly. You need to breathe from your diaphragm. So take moments, and it takes a minute to bring yourself back to the present moment just by breathing, and then stopping. Breathe. Become present. Notice what you're noticing about your body and where you are. And what is your inner voice telling you? So what is your inner voice telling you is the first thing you can do once this is opened up. What is the first thing you want to do when this opens up? Make it something that is going to fill your soul. My friend Deborah Trapin talks about filling your soul tank. What is it going to take to fill your soul tank back up again after being quarantined for so long? So I talked a couple weeks ago about laughter. Obviously, that's extremely important. But if you are just mindful and you take that moment to breathe and you bring yourself back to center, then whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, you'll be able to do it better. I had a friend today suggest that I don't play golf, but he suggested that to clear my mind, I go get a couple balls and do some putting on a putting green. Let my feet touch the grass, and I don't know if there's any open. I have to find out. But having my feet on the grass would be a really good thing, and hitting some balls, I can see how that would clear my mind. So what is it for you? What is it for you that would help you clear your mind and put you back into center no matter what you're doing? For me this week is I am so excited. This course has been, the first course what came out, it was actually up on the California Association website in March, or first part of March, or maybe the last part of February. So it's up. By the way, the California Association of Realtors is offering it for free. So you can go to car.org and go to their learning, and they have the course up there for free. So if you're a realtor, you can go on there and take it. So I highly recommend you do that. The second course, and that's on an overview about disasters and how to be prepared and how it affects our real estate, whether we're a homeowner or if you're a real estate agent, how it affects your business or how it affects your homes. And then the second one was about mindset, leadership, and communication. The third one is on man-made disasters, the things I talked about last week, like pandemics and nuclear power plants and power outages and chemical and hazardous waste, active shooters, all that stuff is in that. That was more fun to write, to be honest with you, and more interesting than this one on insurance. It was really hard for me this week. Anyway, so, and then the fourth one is on insurance, mortgages, and these services. And I am so happy. This is the last course that goes into the certification, and I'll be able to start talking more about it. So stay tuned for that. This week, find a way to be resilient. Find a way to build back better. And what is that going to look like for you when you go back to your job, or maybe you're already at your job, and how can you make it better after this is over? Now, I have a very, very funny video to show you. So I'm going to end it with this. And I know you guys are just going to laugh like crazy over this. So let me pull it up here. Okay. Here we go. Uh-oh. Where's the sound?
I really don't understand why everybody isn't following the same rules right now. They're very clear. So let's take a minute and let's go over them again. First, you must not leave the house for any reason, unless of course you have a reason, and then you may leave the house. All stores are closed except those that are open, and all stores must close unless, of course, they need to stay open. This virus is deadly. but don't be afraid of it. It can only kill people who are vulnerable and also those who are not vulnerable. We should stay locked down until the virus stops infecting people. And it will only stop infecting people if enough of us get infected that we build immunity. So it is very important that we get infected and also do not get infected. You should not go to the doctor's office or the hospital unless you have to go there. Unless, of course, you were too sick to go there. This virus has no effect on children except for those children in which it affects. The virus remains active on different surfaces for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, but in most cases it's days and not hours, and it needs a damp environment or a cold environment that is warm and dry in the air, unless the air is plastic. Schools are closed, so you need to homeschool your children unless you can send them to school because you are not home. If you are at home, you can school your children using various portals and online classrooms unless you have poor internet, more than one child, only one computer, or you are working from home. Baking cakes can be considered math, science, or art. If you are home educating, you can include household chores within their education curriculum. And if you are home educating, you may start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. every day. If you are not home educating children, you may also start drinking at approximately 10 a.m. Masks are useless at protecting you against the virus, but you still need to wear one because it can save lives. And in some cases, it may even be mandatory, but also maybe not. You must not go to work, but you can get another job, at which point you may go to work. Stay home. I don't know how many more celebrities we need to have tell you how important it is to go outside and take care of your mental health. There is no shortage of groceries in the supermarket. There are simply many things missing. You don't need to go buy a bunch of toilet paper, but you should buy some in case you need it. If you are sick, you may go out once you are better, but those in your household, they cannot go out once you are better unless, of course, they need to go out. Animals are not affected by the virus, except for that cat that tested positive in Belgium in February, plus a couple tigers. The number of corona-related deaths will be announced daily, but we don't know how many people are infected because we were only testing those who are almost dead to determine if that's what they will die of. The people who die of corona who are not counted won't or will be counted, but maybe not. To help protect yourself during these times, you should be eating well and exercising, but exercising only eating what you have at home to avoid going to the stores unless you need toilet paper or a fence panel. It's important to get fresh air, but don't go to parks, but do go walk in other places. Just don't sit down unless you are old or pregnant. But if you do sit down, don't sit for too long. Unless you are old and you are pregnant, in which case you need to sit down. If you do sit down, don't eat unless you've had a long walk, which you are allowed to do if you are old or pregnant, except for times in which you aren't. Don't visit old people, but you have a moral obligation to take care of old people and bring them food and medicine. And finally, no businesses will go down due to coronavirus except those businesses that go down due to COVID-19. I hope this cleared up any questions about what we should and should not be doing during this time. Please educate your friends and family with this information so we can remove any and all confusion surrounding this time. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.